Also this morning, Ukrainian President Zelensky putting out new reaction to the meeting in Saudi Arabia that Ukraine is not part of, making clear that the war will not end if Ukraine is not involved.
Ukraine will not participate. Ukraine knew nothing about them. Ukraine perceives any negotiations about Ukraine without Ukraine as those with no results. We cannot recognize anything or any agreements about us without us.
And joining us right now is retired Navy Admiral James Stavridis, a former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, on with us now as a CNN senior military analyst, and we are lucky to have you. He's also a partner at the Carlyle Group, a global investment firm, serves on the boards or advises a handful of defense-related companies. Admiral, it's really good to see you once again. Thank you for coming in. First, I want to ask you first about the meeting happening today, this emergency meeting between European leaders, France, Britain, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, and more, meeting in Paris to coordinate a response to these opening talks right now that Europe is blocked out of. What do you see as the options for Europe if they aren't brought in pretty quickly?
I think this meeting is excellent, and what it shows is the light is going on for the Europeans, that they've got to come together. When you put together the European nations' economies, their defense spending, it's always the second largest entity in the world after the United States. But individually, they don't have that throw weight. So as they come together, look for Emmanuel Macron of France, look for the UK's Keir Starmer, look for the German leader. All of them are going to try to push together this idea of European unity, particularly as they perceive, I think correctly, that the United States' enthusiasm, as Harry just showed us, for the Ukrainian project is waning. It's time for Europe to step up. This is a good meeting.
And then let's look ahead to tomorrow. I want to play something else that we actually heard from Ukraine's president in an interview that aired over the weekend, leading into this big meeting tomorrow between the U.S. and Russia.
Do you think President Trump is negotiating in good faith?
I hope so. I hope so. Yes, I count on it. I count on it very much.
Is Putin capable of negotiating in good faith?
No, you will see. Everybody will see. He will try to begin something new.
Admiral, where do you see this is going? What do you see is, I don't even know if you can call it a best case scenario, or just the most likely scenario to come out of this right now?
Yeah, let's stay on the realism side of the equation, Kate. I think realistically, Putin has a pretty strong hand of cards to hold on to Crimea and the 4 provinces, the land bridge to Russia. That's about 20% of Ukraine. On the other hand, if the United States puts pressure on Putin, if we continue to support Ukraine, and if, as we discussed a moment ago, the Europeans step up, I think the remainder of Ukraine, that 80%, will sail on, democratic, free. Ultimately, it'll have a path to NATO, but one of Putin's conditions will be in the short term, no NATO membership. But to summarize, I think what you see in current terms of territoriality is probably what you're going to get, where the deal lands.
If it lands at 80-20, who then has won this war? How do you see that being decided?
I think Putin lost the war in that scenario. And you can argue about this, but don't forget, 3 years ago, his stated objective was to conquer the entire country, effectively absorb 40 million Ukrainians, all of that mineral resources, all of that agrarian capacity. He's getting 20% under this scenario. And look at that 20%, Kate. It's been a war zone for 3 years. It's full of unexploded ordnance. Its infrastructure is largely destroyed. And it is anything but the grand prize. Frankly, it's a bit of a poisoned chalice at this point, in that Putin would have to pay to do the reconstruction. And then finally, what else has he accomplished? He's strengthened NATO. He's brought Finland and Sweden into NATO. He's made the Baltic Sea a NATO lake, and he has brought the alliance to a position of operating together. I think in every sense, he's not a winner at the end of this negotiation.
Let's see what comes today and tomorrow for sure to see, at least in the most immediate, the direction this is all headed. Admiral James Stav, it is great to see you again. Thank you.